Welcome to a new edition of Tatler Talks. I'm Elizabeth, print editor of Tatler Malaysia.
And I'm Brian, the digital editor.
Well, after the year we've had, we want to start 2021 off with someone that inspires optimism and positivity. We're so excited to present to you Malaysia's national gymnast, the one and only Farah. Hi, Farah.
Hi, it's so nice to see you again. How is everybody doing?
We're doing okay.
Well, as can be, we're doing fine. Yeah. Considering the news that we have today, so.
Yeah. As good as anyone can be at this point in time.
Yeah.
We're all praying hard now. Yeah.
So how was your day today? Did you do any last minute stuff before the NCO started?
So it's a bit different for me. It was actually a little bit hectic because when they announced the MCO, we were actually given a choice to stay, because right now I'm in Majlis Sukarnegara, Bukit Jalil, because we were already doing a quarantine-based training. In the beginning of the year, we had our COVID test done, and then we already started training. And then when we found out that the MCO, we had an option to either stay or go home, and most of us chose to stay. So today we just I'm very lucky to have my home very close by, so I just went home and grabbed a few more things, and then now I'm going to MCO in Bukit Jalil. It's a lot stricter here because we already actually have Rela is already here. We already have our gates up, and we already have our SOPs, which are very strict, and now they're just going to be a little bit stricter.
All right.
Training will be, you'll still continue with your training, right?
Yes, we also continue with our training. It's just right now we have to reduce the number of people in the gym at the same time. So our capacity, so right now, because it will be the junior and senior team, so we're going to just split up the teams, and in the gym we'll just have very minimal people in the gym at one time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so we shot this spread on a Sunday right after the sports carnival for gymnasts. So it was happening that weekend, right? So, and during the shoot, we had Farah jump multiple times, and the resulting images are really great. So everyone's really talking about this beautiful cover. What was your reaction when you first saw it?
My reaction was really, because I saw the photos, as we were taking them, and then when I saw the end image, it was really, I thought it was really beautiful and really captured what the cover was saying, it's a new year, we're going to lift off, and really that jumped. I would say is the beginning of the jump, which is really lifting off from the floor. It's not the end position of the jump. So I thought it really captured what we wanted to say, and I was really the dress flowed really nicely, and everything looked really beautiful, and the photo shoot was great. All the people working was amazing, hair and makeup and the photographer and the backdrop and everyone that was involved. So I love that could be translated into the photo. I could feel the beauty of that shoot really translated to that cover, and I was just so overwhelmed that it was such an amazing shoot and such an amazing cover.
Well, we're really, really excited with this cover as well. We're really loving it. So we really feel it's the great start to to 2021.
Yeah, the images inside there are spectacular as well. Do you have a favorite picture from the spread itself?
I think all the pictures really represent different aspects. So I think one that really pleasantly surprised me that I thought wasn't going to be my favorite. I thought that jumps would be my favorite, because it's so dynamic, but the one where I'm actually standing on a box in the swimwear, and then you have this long train going down with the black train, and it wasn't even a train, it was two that we had wrapped around myself, and I was actually I couldn't move, and I was on a box, but then that image to me was really powerful, where it just showed off the strength of myself, and I didn't need to move. I just needed to stand there and, really feel confident in myself. And I think that is like, the Wonder Woman pose. all women love the Wonder Woman pose. And I really felt that image really captured the essence that I was feeling in that moment. And I think that because 2020 was a very difficult year, and then coming into 2021 now, it's a continuation of that. But I think we grew in strength in that year, and that photo really kind of portrayed that.
Definitely, yes. I really love that picture as well. And I really thought, wow, she looks like Wonder Woman. So you've tried for Olympics twice before, is it? Am I correct?
So the first time actually in 2011, I was the sole competitor to try for Tokyo, but at that time I didn't really comprehend the fact that that would be an Olympic qualification. For me, it was just the World Championships, and it was my first World Championship, so I just wanted to go and do my best. And then the second time, I knew my target, I really wanted to qualify, and I knew I was ready. So it was a very different dynamic the second time around. And so technically that would be like my first time really trying to qualify. And then this would be the second time, I managed to qualify. Yeah, so technically it'll be like 2 times, but I had like 3 chances in a sense, because it was also a qualifying competition when I went for the World Championship, but my target was just to perform at my first World Championships, which was already a big feat in itself.
Definitely. So now that you've done it, you're going to Tokyo, right? So what is it like to realize your dream and being recognized as the country's best?
It's just amazing, and I'm very grateful, and also it's very humbling in a sense where to have a dream and actually accomplish it, to have a goal, and to know that all those hard work, all those years and hard work and sacrifices, it means a lot to me to be able to say, you know what, because of all this time I put in, all the sacrifices, I'm not even just me making those sacrifices, my family, my friends, my teammates, my coaches, all of them have put in a lot of time and effort. And now I'll be able to show that effort and show that, if you set goals, if you dream enough, and if you work really hard, that you can achieve it. So to me, I am just super grateful and thankful to be able to represent Malaysia at the Olympics.
It's good. Do you remember what you were doing at the time when you heard the news?
So I was actually on my bed. I had my phone on because the competition was still going on at that moment, and I was looking at scores and other people competing, so looking at my placing. And when I found out it was actually, there are a lot of gymnastic blogs. And that's why everyone's like reporting and everything. So I kind of read my name in the list. I was like, okay, no, I don't really think so. But I was hopeful because I had counted and I knew that, I would be in the top 20. And then my teammate actually told me, congratulations, Farah, you made it. And then I started getting all these messages. So I was on my bed, and a sense of relief and happiness washed over me, because I had trained so long and I waited so long to be able to compete at the Olympics and to qualify, and I was just overjoyed with happiness.
If you can just take us through, what are some of the steps that you have to go through to get to this point, to qualify for the Olympics? Just to get an idea on the difficulty. Yeah.
So I tried to qualify in 2016 in Rio, and because of a mistake that I made, I fell on one of the apparatus. I couldn't qualify, and then I had to so it's the qualification is every 4 years, because Olympics is every 4 years. So I had to follow all the steps. So I had to requalify. I had to make sure that my routines were up to par, and basically wait another 4 years to make sure that at that one competition you do your very best. And we only perform. Yes, our competitions are very long, can be up to 5 hours, but our performance time is only 5 minutes. So I have to train 4 years to perform in that 5 minutes and make sure that it's the best performance of my life in order to qualify for the Olympics. And for my qualification, there are a few types of qualifications. And for individual, the ones where I was trying to qualify, there was only 20 spots. So there were about 300 gymnasts that were competing at that competition. And then you have to cut out the team slots. And so out of those 300, then you have your teams, which are the top 12 teams in the world. And then, so basically there are like 150 girls who are vying for their 20 spots.
Wow.
Who are already the best of the best in their countries to go to the World Championships in order to try to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics.
Oh, you must be really proud of the accomplishment, man. Really.
You have
to get through.
Yeah, I am very proud because it was a very difficult journey for me as well. I thought about after not qualifying for Rio was maybe of maybe taking a step down and retiring, and also injuries, and then the mental capacity of it, of like pushing your body so much and physical pain, and so it's a very long journey, and it wasn't easy. It was very hard. There were a lot of times in the gym where I felt very mentally drained. The fact that they'd be trained hours and hours, and it could happen like I was in Rio, and at that moment I didn't perform the best, and then I just didn't qualify, and that could happen 4 years down the road. So it took a lot, and yes, I'm very proud to be able to say that I've qualified, and I did all that I could do in order to get to where I am today.
A lot of stage actors have told me that they don't get nervous when they're on stage, but they're the most nervous before they go on stage.
Oh.
Same as well for a gymnast.
Yeah, I think yes, it is. So right before, so there's always between when you finish warming up, then you walk towards where you're going to go to your competition arena. And every time I do that, I always have this little voice inside me telling me like, why do you do this to yourself? Why? Because you are so stressed and you're worried, but also you're excited. And so you have all these emotions, and you're just, what if I don't do my best? What if I do my best? What if I, and it's all these emotions. And then you get there, and then they say they announce, and then suddenly then you walk out, and everything starts, because you just kind of all those nerves. You still have nerves, but you're now switched to a focus where I need to do this, I need to warm up, I need to do my skills, and then when you compete, you have all the little things that you need to remind yourself. So I have to point my toes, I have to make sure I do this kind of landing. So there's always like split seconds where you're really nervous. Even before we lift my hand, you lift your hand, you're really nervous, but then once you touch your apparatus, you'll just go until the end. So there's like peaks of nerves, and then not nerves, and then not nerves, because you have to go on, perform, come down, and go to another apparatus. But after you're done, the relief, like, okay, I'm done.
We want to know about Farah, behind the sports person, So surely life doesn't revolve around training. So what do you like to do for fun?
So for fun, on the one day of the week that I don't have to train, I love reading, and also now usually if I have time with my friends, we go for dinner, and usually we have game nights. So we play cards, board games, and I love spending time with my friends that way. And then with my family, we do family dinners, or we go for a movie night. So usually that's what I do. And if I'm in my room, because most of the time I'm in MSN now, I sometimes binge watch Netflix, or I take online classes, and now I've also started to draw, but it's on my iPad, so I just follow tutorials and draw. I find it very relaxing because it turns off my mind, and I usually have 1,000 things going in my head, and I find that drawing, coloring, I love doing that. And reading as well. I love fantasy books because for me, I love being able to picture another world, and to be able to be engrossed in that, and have maybe dragons, like mermaids, and I really love being able to imagine that.
What are your favorite fantasy authors?
Fantasy authors. So right now I'm reading I'm not reading the Mortal Instruments. I think Cassidy Clare is the author's name, but she has She has Shadowhunters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Shadowhunters. But so Mortal Instruments is her first series. So she has book 1 to 6, and then she has other worlds that are not other worlds, like other storylines. And so there are there's 6, 7, 8, and then there's also 9, 10, 11. So there is a lot. She has because she has different characters. So right now I'm enjoying that. So now my older sister, she just sent me another series to read. So actually I love reading because my older sister Tina, she loved reading, and as her baby sister I was like, oh, because she reads I also want to follow. So she read all the Harry Potters, and then I read all the Harry Potters. So actually all my book collection is because of her. Every time I read, I'm actually just getting books from her. So yeah, so I think Mortal Instruments is one of my favorites. Oh, and Aragon. I love the Aragon series.
I like that too, yeah. Let's talk about diving. Tell us about that.
So scuba diving is really a family affair. My mom is the one who so when she came to Malaysia, she started scuba diving, and she fell in love with it. She loves the water and aquatics. And so when we were very young, me and my family, we used to always go for beach holidays. And then when we were old enough, me, my older sister, my younger sister, and my mom, all four of us have our scuba diving license. So we always go and scuba dive. And I love the feeling of how freeing it is to scuba dive, because you're in the water, and I love the aquatic life. And you're there and you look at them, and it's like you are one with the sea, and you are just very free because you can float. And it's very, for me, a place where I can just be myself and not be stressed out, and just focus on the breathing and focus on floating, and also enjoying the aquatic life that's there. And then it's fun because whenever we can go as a family, it's a family affair, so all of us enjoy this activity together.
Where's the best place you've ever dived in?
Raja Ampat in Indonesia. It's so beautiful because it is a national park, so they've actually kept their waters free from overfishing, and the coral life is absolutely amazing. I do want to dive in Sipadan. I have not dove in Sipadan because of training and because of the weather. So every time I'm free from training, you cannot dive. So I'm really hoping to dive in Sipadan next, but Raja Ampat up to now is like the most amazing experience I've ever had diving.
Have you done a night dive before?
Yeah, so we actually did one night dive. I didn't think that I would enjoy night diving as much as I did, because diving is I think it's like a bit scary, because you have to think about your oxygen tank, and then to add it in night where you cannot see your surroundings and you cannot see the aquatic life around. But it was actually very interesting because we stayed very near to shore. So I always knew that, if anything happens, you can actually just like swim and you're already at the beach. But it felt like you were swimming in the stars.
Oh,
because you came down and there were little planktons. And then it was a little bit illuminating. So it really felt that you were swimming in the stars. And I enjoyed it so much. Would I do it again? If it's not near to the beach, I don't know. But it was an amazing experience.
The Tokyo Olympics, it's been postponed to this year, July 2021. So having trained so much and so hard, to get into peak performance, how would you feel if the Tokyo Olympics gets postponed? Because there might be a chance that it could happen.
I think that it will be difficult in a sense where especially as an athlete, to not have a competition that is set, or because even we are human, so our bodies, we need to take time to prepare them and make sure that our bodies are fully fit, and we also need to make sure that we shy away from getting injured. But in the end, I think because my main goal is to compete at the Olympics, it will just reset what needs to be reset and our timeline and my training. So our training, even last year, our training program was drastically very different because there was no competition. So it was more of maintenance, learning a bit new skills, and actually just making sure that I was in good shape in order to make sure that my body was fit and also free from injuries. And if it does get postponed, then I think that yes, it would be a little bit heartbreaking because you've waited so long to be able to compete at this competition, but you have to take it in stride and just replan for whenever it gets postponed.
You got into the sport because of your family as well, right? Was it your family's influence as well? Tell us a little bit about how you first got into gymnastics. Who was the person that influenced you and convinced you to step into onto the stage?
So with gymnastics, I started very young at 3 years old. I used to be very active, and I was also a tantrum child. If you talk to my mom, you can hear the horror stories that she has to tell.
What kind of horror stories? What kind of horror stories are you talking about?
Like, it's how kids have tantrums, just times that by 5.
You want to get your way all the time?
So it wasn't like getting my way, it was more of just yelling and screaming. My mom said that I once screamed my head off for 45 minutes straight. Yeah, that really, it was the tantrums were so bad that my parents brought me to the doctor because they thought something was wrong with me. That was how bad it was.
Oh, you were screaming for no reason.
Something could set it off. Like if my parents were shopping and if I was set off, then they would have to leave their groceries and bring me home. Like it was like there wouldn't be something that anything could set it off. But then I was also very active as a child. My family was a kind of family where every weekend we would have something to do. We would, I remember my family, we would go to Sunway Lagoon or go to the park. We would go cycling, and I was always, there's a few pictures of me always upside down on the monkeys bars. And my parents were very sporty, so they wanted their children to do sports, and someone suggested that there was a gymnasium in Shah Alam. So me and my older sister Katrina, we both started at the same time in gym, and we both actually fell in love with the sport. And for me, I just loved being able to run around and be active and do tumbling, and my tantrums actually stopped after that, because I think it was the smartest decision my parents made, was to throw their children into sports and then tire them out so much that they will go back and sleep. So that was the initial plan, I think. It was smart parenting.
Very smart, yeah.
But I fell in love with the sport, and I started competing when I was 6 years old. I joined the national team when I was 8 years old, and my love for the sport and competing and being able to represent Malaysia. My first time representing Malaysia was when I was 10 years old, and it just grew from there, and being able to perform at high level just kind of pushed me on in order to be able to represent Malaysia at the highest level.
Why do you love the sport so much?
I think it's a combination of being able to, one, perform really great skills, but also for me especially, I get to express myself both artistically and also being very strong in a sense, because as a woman in sports, we, especially in gymnastics, for some reason people always think that we're very kind of weak, or like, it's very easy. And I love being able to show that, I'm both very strong but also very flexible. I'm very masculine but also feminine, and it's a duality of the sport. And I love being able to go out there and perform, I think, and be able to represent Malaysia. And it's just that really makes me fall in love with this sport. And I think this sport is really a sport where it challenges you in a lot of ways, mentally and physically. And actually sometimes, even for me as a senior athlete, sometimes I go in the gym and I'm able to perform a skill, and it was difficult for me, and then being able to perfect it really gives me a lot of joy.
And speaking of family, we have a surprise guest coming on to join us. Your sister, Katrina Ann, all the way from Sydney, Australia. Hi, Katrina.
Hello. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Okay, Katrina, you represented Malaysia in synchronized swimming, winning gold medals at the 2011 SEA Games in Indonesia and Singapore in 2015. Can you tell us what have you been up to ever since?
So I moved to Sydney about 4 years ago, I think, to finish my studies after 2015. So I've just done my undergrad in information systems, and now I'm doing my master's of information systems.
And can you just tell us a bit about your relationship with Farah? I mean, I hear that you guys are very close.
Yeah, we are very close. We're very close to the point that we needed to be not so close in terms of sport. So it's probably the main reason why.
Is that why you choose different sports then?
Oh, well, we're both very competitive. So Farah is like very competitive in artistic gymnastics, and when we were younger, we would always compete against each other because we were always in the same age group. We're quite close in age, a little less than 2 years apart. So at the end of the day, it was just like, I love artistic gymnastics, but I was also really interested in synchronized swimming, and I was also doing track and field at the time. And you can't do everything, so had to sit down and really think about like, okay, what do you want to do? So I chose synchronized swimming. Yeah.
And how would you describe Farah?
Farah, when you first look at her, you think that she's very demure and very like shy. And then once you actually start talking to her and you realize that she's like, she's so excited and like really bubbly. So I think she's
more than meets the eye.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people are surprised when they hear her speak because she speaks so eloquently. And like, yeah, just hearing her talking to you guys earlier, like she's very well said, well read, like a lot of people. She gives athletes a good name. I think a lot of people, especially in Malaysia, think that for you to be an athlete, you may not necessarily be that smart. But like she's here to show you that you can have smarts and you can pursue a career in sport and also in education.
And Farah, how would you describe your relationship with your sister, and how would you describe Katrina?
As exactly what Tina was saying. When we were younger, we were very competitive, and I think it was such, on her part, it was such, because we were in different sports, so we could both excel in our different sports respectively, and I really look up to her, especially in training. My sister, Tina, is one of the most hardworking person that you would ever meet, and I'm tearing out talking about her. So sorry. I love my sister very much, but so she actually got me through a lot of hard times in sports, and every time I needed someone to talk to or I needed advice, she was always there, and she's the person that is not only hardworking, but she is super smart, and she really knows how to go out there and do things for herself and make sure that she is successful in her own way. And I have always respected her and held her in the highest regard. And it's just amazing to be able to have a sister like that, and to be able to both, because she understands what I go through as an athlete, and also now as being older, it's a bit sad that I don't get to see her, because technically in high school we didn't actually hang out that much. We didn't hang out at all in high school because we were,
our schedules were too crazy. Yeah, it
was too crazy. Like people were surprised that we were even sisters, but it's amazing now that we talk every other day, and we find time to just have amazing conversations. And also, of course, with our little sister Aisha, who's now studying as well, we try to always have our sister talks. And Tina is I think with Tina, she's so hardworking, but she's kind of the silent hardworking, where suddenly, my sister, she had such a hard time because she actually learned to speak Mandarin on her own.
Wow.
Yeah, she actually speaks
Katrina, can speak Mandarin?
Okay. Yes, I can speak Mandarin.
It shows how she is such an amazing person, and she's very, very organized. She knows what she wants. She literally moved to Australia and did her degree, and now she's having a master's, and she actually just got her results, and she literally has the highest score they've ever had in one of the subjects, and it's like a 94 in a master's. it's amazing to know that, you know.
Katrina.
Congratulations, Katrina.
Thank you.
It's just it's just amazing. And then I think my sister has always been a pioneer, especially in sports in Malaysia, where she went out and she wanted to, because we get scholarships for studying, and then, you know, she said, I wanted to go to this university, so she went and asked the ministry, so can I go to private school and have this education. And it's amazing to be able to have someone like that to look up to, and also to have someone like that when I fall and I know that, you know, whatever happens, I have my sister. And I've had really hard times where, and I remember that in 2011, my first World Championships, and I didn't perform well, and I was really down in the dumps, and I gave my sister a call, and I was like, you know, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And she was just like, okay, you know what, you got to think about this. If you want to retire, then it's fine. You can retire, but really think about it, and it's up to you and this decision. And I remember, and she was just saying, you know, you've worked so hard for this, and you're just going to let this one competition bring you down. And I was just like, well, I mean, I was trying to get like advice from you, and all I hear is, you know, it's like, you know what is this? What is this? Like, basically she was like, what is this nonsense? And, you know, you got so much ahead of you. And she's always that person who will give you the advice that you need, but also the guiding that you need. And I am just very grateful to have her in my life.
And Katrina,
I love you so much.
Katrina, obviously you have a very big influence on Farah as well. On Farah, is this a two-way relationship? Do you go to her to unload and also perhaps seek advice and all that as well?
Yeah, it's definitely a two-way thing, because we're quite close in age, so and especially when you're older, right? Like, age kind of like dissolves. It doesn't really matter anymore, and it didn't really matter when we were younger either. I think in high school it was just because the schedule at Bukit Jalil, like, sports school, is just like insane, and like with the different competitions, and like it's just like we didn't even see each other. We only saw each other on the Sunday. Like, we were in school together, boarding school, didn't see each other at all for anything, not for meals or anything, because you had to stay with your different sports. So I was in the different sports and segregated by year. So I had to stay with different people, and she was with different people. So we saw each other on the weekends, and I think we're even closer like now, like leaving school, because like we talk so much. And I think when people listen to us speak, like, we just banter, and it's always a lot of banter, very cheeky, but talking about hard stuff, and then you're just bouncing something else, and then like everybody is just laughing, falling on the floor laughing. So it's a really like great relationship to have with your sister, and you know that whatever happens, you can always just call. Like, with FaceTime now, that even though I'm in Sydney, I still talk to her like every other day. Like, you're always sending texts. Like, it's so easy to stay in touch. So I still feel like she's here. Obviously, usually we see each other like twice a year, and this year it's just been, I really miss like my home, like seeing my sister. So that's kind of like the sucky part. But I mean, everybody's in this situation, so yeah.
What is it like growing up together?
Any fond memories between the two of you?
Yeah, what are some of the best memories you have?
What comes to mind? I remember we did, when we were, I think, 8 and 6, we did a taekwondo. Not taekwondo. It was for gym rama. So we also did rhythmic gymnastics, and at the end of the carnival, you do like a show, and you had to dress up as something. And then, Farah, do you remember this? We dressed up as like taekwondo. Like,
no, I remember. So I think it wasn't for rhythmic. I think it was for like school or something. And then it was a talent competition. And I remember very specifically we did taekwondo was because you had the outfit. Your outfit, I think, was black.
Yeah, and my outfit was black. And
I was like, oh, Tina wants to do taekwondo. And then so I was like, I have to also do it. So I got my outfit in white. And then Tina was like, well, like, you could have chosen something else. And I'm like, but you're doing it, so I'm doing it. So then we decided to, I remember that. And then Tina I think you went on first. And then Tina did really well. It was a talent competition. And then I think Tina won first, and then I won second. I remember this. Yeah. Yeah,
and I remember us like after the competition, still in the spirit of it, because we're in taekwondo outfits, so we're doing like taekwondo and tumbling like across. We have a kitchen like countertop, and then we're just like tumbling over the countertop and running after each other. Yeah, so I think
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
fun.
We have a lot, especially in school as well, because me and Tina, we were both gymnasts. So we would always have to do the performances in school. And I remember one night we were watching the Lizzie McGuire movie and we had already choreographed our routine, but we loved the end song and we're like, no, Tina, we're going to re-choreograph this. And so we went outside in the garden and forced our parents, I think at 9 p.m. at night, to play the music over and over. So we could re-choreograph the routine. And me,
I still remember the song.
What was the song?
Hey now,
Yeah.
this is a dream. I made of. And I'm terrible at remembering things. So on the day that we had to perform, all I did was
The old routine.
because I couldn't remember. And I'm like, we have a video of this, and all you see is Tina doing it, and then me doing it. Yeah, we have a lot of home videos. Yeah, because my parents had a video recorder.
Sounds like a lot of
Yeah.
fun. You guys have a lot of fun. Farah, is that your best memory with Katrina as well?
So actually, it sounds very nice, and when we tell it. But when I was young, because there was a gap in our ages, and Tina, even her best friend until now, has she used to live next door to us. And I was the annoying younger sister who always wanted to play. To be fair, I also had my best friend. And then, so Tina and her name was Ellie used to always play. And they would always let me play with them. But then, after a while, sometimes the big girls wanted to hang out themselves. And so they would sneak off to the other house. And because the other door was very loud. So you're, and I would be in my house like, they're there, and I would run to the next house and start banging on the door to be let in. And then you get a call. Then my dad, Tina, open the door for your sister. And then so they had to let me in.
Oh,
I'm not sure these are like best memories. These are like funny memories.
Yeah, these are funny memories. Looking at it now, and then so then we would all hang out, and me being so oblivious. It's okay. Now I'm in, so now they want me to play with them. So then we would play. But then we would then play again because the whole neighborhood would play together. We used to have playgrounds. And we actually orchestrated a rubbish pickup in our playground. I think Tina was the one who orchestrated it. And we were like, we got to make sure that we clean our playground. This is our playground. So we all got trash cans. And all the kids in the neighborhood, we picked up trash. Because we were like, we play here, so we clean here. And we decided so we pick up all the trash. Yeah, so we had a lot of amazing childhood memories because a lot of the kids grew up around the same age. And we had a playground, so we all played together.
Was there a sibling rivalry though? I mean, I know you guys are very close, but did you feel sometimes that you need to?
Oh yeah, definitely. I had to change sport due to the sibling rivalry. You think I'm joking, but low-key, not really.
Yeah, no, actually it was bad. It was really bad. We are both very competitive people. And I remember when I was younger, even in gym, I remember there was one training session where we were kind of competing and we would pinch each other because one better than the other, but because we were both equally very good, so we would just like pinch each other to make the other person off balance.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were both very competitive, but it was amazing being able to compete with Tina. So we were always very proud of each other. Like I remember Tina was the best at balance beam, and I was better on the floor exercise, and so we would always cheer each other on. But then we couldn't kind of like change turf. So if Tina was better on floor, I'll be like, and then if I was better,
that's my territory. Like, that's not your territory.
Yeah, but
no.
I mean, like now, yeah.
With both of you in sports, right? Do you think that's the reason why you become very close because of it? Or if you were both not in sports, do you think it would have gone otherwise?
I think we would have been close probably either way. And I say that probably mostly because with our sports, it was very different journeys. Because like with my career, I was going for a lot of very big competitions very early on. So like Asian Games at 14, I was the youngest to go at that time. So we didn't necessarily see each other that much. So it's not like a typical family home where everyone would be at home and you would always like see each other at the dinner table, play with each other. From the ages of 13 onwards, we lived very separate lives and only kind of came together on the Saturdays and the weekends. And yes, we have the shared bond of going for competitions and being an athlete. And obviously there's something there where you understand what the other person is going through. But thinking about all the times that we haven't been together, like it's not as much time as other people probably have, and we still have such a strong relationship. And I think that's just us really taking the time, like even though I'm here, I really take the time, make sure that like I text my friends or call or send gifts on their birthday. Like, you know, relationships are things that you need to work on regardless of whether there's something there or not. Like if you want a good relationship, you need to work for it. And I think that's what we both feel and that's what we both do.
Do you think your younger sister get left out, you know, because of your closeness, or you're all very close together, three of you?
So I think growing up, yeah, she was feeling quite left out because we were always away from home. But then now Farah and Aisha are always together and I'm the one that's away from home.
It's
just that the dynamics, the dynamics
so,
have changed.
So it's like, I would say that because I guess I used to be more at home before COVID and everything, because I live so close by to our home that I could come to training and go home. So I would actually see Aisha every other day. So I could always ask her how she was and she would tell me things, and we, I guess, would have a little bit more of a closer relationship because we saw each other every day, as opposed to like Tina now, who lives in Australia. And then we would do movie nights and stuff. So it's just a very different dynamic with me and Aisha. So with Aisha, she's the baby sister, but when we hang out, we try to have a relationship where we don't really just talk about sports. And we try, even when I have interviews or everything, I think I try to change, or when she's involved in the interview, even for me, I hate when people say, you know, so you don't do it. Because when they ask you, you're not in sports, then they say, oh, you don't do anything. And I'm like, my little sister has accomplished so much. You know, she's doing her degree right now, and she just pursued a different path for her life. And she's very artistic. And I think that we complement each other in a very different sense, because I'm very loud. Tina is very how do I say, she's more in control, and Aisha is very street smart, and so she kind of figures things out, and she does things in a very different way that I thought. I'm also very emotional, and she's kind of very, very level-headed.
Yeah, so I think like it's all three of us are good at different things, and we have like a sister chat group, which is just, you know, the regular memes, fun stuff whatsoever. But yeah, definitely like everyone plays a part, especially like in the family dynamic, and you have different personalities, and it's when you're together, it's not, oh, the sister who is the athlete, or like Farah the Olympian. Like it's just Farah, like she's loud, snotty. Aisha is like you know, I'm always like, come on guys, let's go. Like it's just, we are just normal people.
It's very much a family dynamic. I mean, we fight and, you know, we have disagreements, but I think the one good thing about our family is we are able to sit down and have a family conversation. Sometimes there need to be people who have to mediate. I mean, I think it's with any dynamic, with any family, obviously sometimes we have disagreements, but then we will always be able to come forward from that and talk about everything that's happening, because we are a lot older. I mean, I'm turning 27 this year. 27, Tina's turning 29. And so
you're turning 21, Farah.
Oh yes, Aisha is forever 21.
You're turning 21. I'm only 23, not nearing 30.
Yeah, Aisha is not even in the 20s yet. So I mean, like it's a very different dynamic. And right now I feel that like we can all have very adult conversations with each other. And sometimes when life gets really hard, it's nice to know that we have very different perspectives that we can bounce ideas off.
We have to wrap up the interview, but before we go, I'd just like to ask you, the both of you, one question. Since it's the new year, 2021. Although COVID is still with us, just would like to know what are your hopes for 2021? All right, want to start first?
So my hopes for 2021, of course, is to compete at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Also, I think hopefully we get to a semi-new normal. And right now with the new MCO, it seems quite bleak. But I think that, we've pulled together as a nation once before and we can do it again. And I think it's just to be there for each other in this very difficult time and to strive to be better people and also better citizens and to do our very best to be healthy together, and hopefully we have an amazing year.
And Katrina, what about you?
Yeah, I think similar sentiments to Farah. This year, personally for me, it's to finish my master's and do well, and start working and adjust to this new life. But I think in general, it's just everybody kind of getting through the pandemic. In Sydney, in Australia, things aren't as bleak as it is in Malaysia, but I still think about my sister and my family who is there. So hopefully everyone is a little bit kinder to each other. We're no longer hoarding toilet paper. But I think overall it's just like focusing, especially when you're tied down at home all the time, focusing on health. That's physical and also mental health. Like I think we often forget that we're stuck inside with our thoughts, and then you lead to like bad habits. So it's just being strong mentally and then also keeping up with the physical habits of working out so that you feel better as well. Yep.
But I hope you guys can reunite with the whole family soon.
I hope so too.
I wish you all the best. I wish you the best. Katrina, I wish you the best. Farah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Tatler Talks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Because in Zoom, right, you're waiting for
other people.
This is the new normal, guys.
This is the new normal.
You're waiting.
This is how we're doing it. We can't do face to face anymore. We can only do virtually. But thank goodness for technology. Can you imagine we had this 10 years ago?
Oh yeah.
Without Netflix and all that, I think it'll be crazier then.
Yeah.
But thank you and all the best,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you so much. All the best to you.
All the best to you both.